Okay, we have finished already the mod. We have finished already the module one. In module one, we have discussed regarding what are the different elements of a permanent way, then the significance of a road, rail, air, water transport. Right, we have discussed on the rails, sleepers, ballast, rail fixtures, fastenings, right? And then track stresses, coning of wheel, creep in rail, defect in rail, route alignment, conventional method and modern method of your route alignment, then geometric design of the railways, gradient, super elevation, widening of gauge points and crossing. So we have already covered all these things in the module one. In the module two, we will be studying regarding how we should do the construction and the maintenance of a railway track. Okay, in this, we will be studying regarding what is earthwork, right? What do you exactly mean by earthwork? Then how we are going to stabilize if a poor soil is there on a formation level, how we are going to stabilize it. Then a calculation of a material, right? Materials required for a track laying. For example, means for 1 kilometer of a track, how much length of a rail we require, right? How much should be the rail, right? How much should be your sleepers, how many number of your all the fish plate, fish bolt, right? How many numbers it should be there? What quantity of ballast we require? What quantity of earthwork or formation is going to be required? All these calculation per kilometer length we are going to calculate here. So calculation of materials required for track laying we will be studying. Then construction and maintenance of a track, that is the modern methods of construction and maintenance that we are going to study. Then what kind of an amenities the railway station and the yards should have, and what is urban rail, what is the infrastructure, what is the infrastructure required for the metro and the mono and underground railway projects. So this is what we are going to discuss in our next module, that is we are going to study in module 2. All these things we will be studying in our module 2. Okay, so let's directly go to the module 2, right? Let's directly go to the module 2. Okay, so here we will be studying in module 2, we will be studying regarding the components of a railway track. Here we are going to study regarding the earthwork, right? Now, before going to the earthwork, let us see, right, what are the components that we are going to have in a railway track. Okay, before going to the earthwork, we will see what are the different components we are going to have in a railway track. Okay, so this you have already seen in your previous module, right? This thing, that is the different elements of permanent way, you have already seen in your module 1. Okay, in your module 1, we have seen above ground level, there will be the muram or the subgrade will be there, right? This is your subgrade, right? And this is we call it as an ballast formation, right? The subgrade we also call it as a formation, right? Then you are going to have the ballast, sleeper, then your rails. On this your train will be moving. So this is what your elements of a permanent way is. This is what your different elements of a permanent way will be, right? All these things the permanent way will be having. Okay, so now we will see what exactly the earthwork is, right? We will see what exactly the earthwork is. Okay, now what are the different things will be there in your earthwork? Now, what is subgrade, right? If you take this particular diagram, what is subgrade? What is subgrade over here? Now, the subgrade, right? This particular, right, above ground level, whatever the soil you are going to see, that we call it as a subgrade. Okay, subgrade, it is nothing but it is a naturally occurring soil which is prepared to receive the ballast. See, above this particular subgrade, what is there? The ballast will be there on the subgrade. Okay, now above this particular, it is the natural soil. Above this, it is going to have sleepers, right? Ballast, sleeper, rail, and the constructing railway track, right? On this, what will be there? Yeah, ballast, sleeper, and railway track will be there. This is prepared surface, and we call this subgrade as a formation level also. right? We call this subgrade as a formation level also. Okay. Now formation could be in embankment level or cutting depending upon the ground condition. Now this particular embankment might be sometimes it is there on your ground level, right? It is for formation could be in an embankment level or in the cutting, right? This particular subgrade, right, might be there is an in the embankment or in the you are cutting, it might be present. So now we will see what exactly the embankment is, right? We will see what exactly the embankment is. Okay. Now, what is embankment? Embankment is nothing but the raised bank of earth or other materials constructed above the natural ground, right? Now, what is your embankment is this formation level itself, right? The formation level itself, we call it as an embankment. Okay. Now here what it is telling, it is a raised bunk of earth or other material, right? It is a raised bunk of earth or other material constructed above the natural ground. See, this is the natural ground, right? Here we are going to have the fill it with the subgrade. So whatever the things that you are going to construct on above the natural ground, we call it as an embankment. Okay. When it is constructed when the railways have to be carried in a low ground or in the valleys. So wherever we are going to have these wherever the train is going to have move into the low grounds or in the valleys, there normally we will going to have this embankment. Okay. Now the cutting. Now what is cutting? Right. Now we will see what is cutting is. Okay. Now here you are going to see this is a natural ground, right? This is a natural ground, right? Now what is a cutting is? Now we want to have our formation level at this particular level, right? So what this is extra. So what we are going to do now? Here we are going to have the cutting. Here we are going to have the cutting, and whatever the cut portion is there, or whatever the quantity of material that we have cut, we will be placing it over here. So this is what you are cutting, and this is what you are filling. Here, this is your ground level, right? We want to have the formation level over here. We have fixed up the formation level over here. Now what we are going to do? We are going to cut this extra portion and we will be filling it over here. So what will happen here? The formation level will be going to be get created. So here your formation level is going to be get created. Now what is cutting is the raised ground or hill is cut or excavated for providing the railway line at the required level. So here what we are going to do here, this is an extra portion, right? Here extra portion, right? So here what we are going to do here, since it is an extra and we have fixed up the formation over we have fixed the formation level over here. So what we will be going to do, we are going to cut it and we are going to fill it over here. So this is what exactly the cutting is. So this is what exactly your cutting is. Okay. Now we will see what are the other important elements will be there, right? And the formation. Okay. Now we will see what is a formation, right? We will see what exactly the formation is, right? When the formation, the prepared surface which is ready to receive ballast is called as a formation. Now here, when, right, when the surface it is going to ready to receive the ballast, right, this particular thing we call it as a formation. We call this particular level as a formation. So this is what exactly the different basics element will be there in your say a permanent way. So formation level, ballast, then again your sleepers, rails, and above this you are going to have your train. Okay. Now we will see what should be the width of the formation. Now what is nothing but the formation width. So from here to here, see here we have raised the ground, we have placed the soil over this particular ground level, right? We have provided certain slope. So here clear width, right? The clear width, whatever we are going to have on a permanent way or a track, we call it as from here to here, right? I hope it is visible to you. From this edge to this edge, right? This we call it as a formation width. Okay. Now, width of the formation is the width of the prepared surface to receive the ballast. Okay. Now, this width will be dependent upon what we will see. The number of tracks to be laid. Okay. Now, this width of formation will be depend upon how many number of tracks will be moving on this particular formation level. See here, since we are going to have one permanent way or one railway track, right? Now the formation width will be bit less. If we suppose if we have two, the formation width will go in increasing. If we have the multiple railway tracks, again the formation width is going to increase. So it is dependent upon the number of tracks it is going to receive side by side, and the either it is going to have depend upon the gauge, that is the broad gauge, meter gauge, and narrow gauge. Okay. Now broad gauge width is 1.67, meter gauge 1, and for narrow gauge it is 0.8. So it depends on how your it depends on how much is your width of the gauge. Okay. So formation level will be dependent upon the number of tracks which is going to be received, and it is also dependent upon how many number of, what is the gauge of the track. Okay. Broad gauge it will be more, meter gauge quite less. Then again for narrow gauge the formation width will be bit less. Now we will see, right? So this is what your earthwork, right? So this is what I have told regarding cutting, right? So all these things we have completed, right? Now we have come to the width of the formation. We have come to the point where the width of the formation will depend upon, it depends upon number of tracks, gauge of the tracks, and center to centers between the distance between the tracks. Okay. And the width of the ballast, it has to be laid over, and it is going to be depend upon the width of the trench that has to drain off the water if necessary. Okay. Now we will see how much should be the width, right? How much should be the minimum width of the formation recommended for the different gauges. Okay. Now here we are going to have the minimum width of the embankment and the minimum width of the cutting. Okay, minimum width of embankment and the minimum width of the cutting. Now, for a broad gauge, if the single track is there, right? If a broad gauge, meter gauge, narrow gauge, for a broad gauge, if a single track is there, then the width of the formation level should be 6.1 meter, or it is 610 centimeter. For a meter gauge, right? If a single track is there, then 488 centimeter or 4.88 meter. If a narrow gauge is there, then 3.7 meter or 370 centimeter. If a railway width or a track is going to have the true broad gauges, double line is there, right? Double track is there, then 1082 centimeter, right? 1082 centimeter. That means how much in meters? Right, it is how much in meters? It is 100, and it is going to have 10.82 centimeter, sorry, in meters. Okay, then meter gauge, it should have around 884 centimeter. Okay, and if it is a narrow gauge, it is 7.32 meter, or it is 732 centimeter. So this is if a single line and double line is there. Then the minimum width of the cutting, right? If it is going to have the broad gauge single track for 549 centimeter, double track 1021 centimeter, right? Then your meter gauge 427 centimeter for a single track, and a double track 827 centimeter, for a narrow gauge 335 centimeter, and for a double track it is going to have 701 centimeter. And rebar, right, 122 centimeter extra width is to be provided in case, right, in case of formation is in the cutting of the side of the drain. So if cutting has to be done at the side, we should have around 122 centimeter extra. Okay. Now this is regarding your formation width. Now we will see, right, recommended minimum distance, right? We will see slope of the sides. We will see how will be the slope of the sides should be. Okay. Now the stability of the track, it depends upon, right, two factors, that is cohesion and friction. As there is a continuous friction is going to occur between the different components, so your stability of your earthwork, right, it is completely depend upon the cohesion and the your friction. The temporary stability cohesion is useful, and it is going to be reliable, right? And the permanent stability is going to be achieved only by the friction, right, which is going to keep the slopes at the natural angle of repose, right? The slopes to be provided at the side of the formation should be, right, the slopes, at this point is important, the slopes to be provided to the sides of the formation should be slightly flatter than the angle of repose of the material. Okay. Now the slopes in cutting vary from, right, vertical, that is 1.5 to 1 in steeper. Okay. Now we will see here formation level. Here we are going to have the width, right? What is this? This is the slope that we needed to maintain, right, for the your subgrade, right? It is the slope that we needed to maintain for the subgrade, right? And this is the slope we are going to maintain, that is 1.5 is to 1, that we are going to maintain for your the for your ballast, right? The slopes has to be maintained. Now why this slope is going to be required? See, if rainfall, if we don't have the slope, right, it is going to help also to provide the stability of the track, and also it is going to help in the draining of the rainfall, your rainwater, whatever is going to come. It is going to provide you the your stability to the track also, and also it is going to help in draining out the rainwater that is going to come. Okay. Now the drain, right? Now accumulation accumulation of, we will see what is the drain exactly. We will see the picture of drains in a railway track. Okay, so this drain is going to require, right? It is going to, whatever the rainwater, if we are going to have it, right? If we are going to, if we don't provide the drains, right? So this is what your drainage thing that we are going to maintain. See, if we have this formation level, or your formation level for ballast, or formation level for your subgrade, right? If we don't do the drainage, see here we are going to have the maintain the drain. So whatever the rain, if it is going to come, if we don't have this particular drainage facility, then what may happen? It may enter into your formation level, right, or into your subgrade, and it is going to weak your railway track. So there is a necessity to provide. See, this water is going to percolate, and it is going to be coming over, and it is going to be flowed down over here. If we don't provide these particular drain, then the soil which is going to be, which is there in your formation level or your subgrade formation, then it may loosen up, and it will going to looser your track. So that is the reason why we should have the drainage facility, right, in our railway track. The accumulation of water reduces the friction and all sorts of soil. In case of embankments, the rainwater has to be easily drained off. But in case of cutting, drains have to be provided. Okay, the drains have to be constructed along the track at a depth of around, right, 120, right, 1200 mm from the railway level. It has to be downside the railway level. That is how much it is. It has to be 1200 mm from the railway track. Okay, the size of the drain will be depending upon the quantity of the water to be drained. Okay, it is dependent upon how much rainfall is going to be occurred in that particular area. If the rainfall is more, then the drain size will be more. If the rainfall is less, the drain size will be less. Sometimes the pipe of stoneware or concrete or trench will be laid, right, at open or the half open joints and covered with the porous material. Regarding this, we will be discussing in our further class, right? Now, we will see how the stabilization of a poor soil will be done. Okay, we will see how the your stabilization of a poor soil will be done. Why we are going to have, we will see before this, we will see what are the different functions of your subgrade or the formation. Now, your subgrade or a formation level, what are the different works of it that we are going to see? Now, your subgrade or this is your subgrade or a formation level, it should bear the moving loads transmitted through the ballast with the uniform and with the uniform rate. Okay, this subgrade, it should transmit the load transmitted to it uniformly to the your ground level or to the ground. Okay, it should prevent the ballast from the puncturing. Okay, it should prevent the ballast, right, from puncturing. Okay, and to facilitate the drainage, it should drain off the water entering from its top, right. Your formation level should have the capacity to drain out whatever the rainwater it is going to be received from the ballast to it. It should drain out, or else as I have told, it is going to lose your soil. It should be smooth. It should provide a smooth, uniform, and regular and graded surface on the width of the ballast, and it should move to the surface safely. Okay, and it should not change. Very important. It should not change its volume, right, during the variation in moisture, right, as it could increase, as it could have the different stresses may be imposed, right. In other words, it should provide the stability to the track, right. So your track should not vary its say volume due to the variation in your atmospheric temperatures or moisture. It should not vary its volume, right. So this is going to be very important. It should receive the loads carried to it, loads carried to it in a uniform way to the ground level, right, and it should carry the loads properly, and it should drain out the water. It should not it should provide the smooth and regular surface, right? And it should not change the volume when there is a change in the moisture content or in the change in the temperature condition. So this is how your railway track or your formation level or a subgrade should be. This is the work that the formation level um, should carry out. Okay. Now we will see how the subgrade it can be stabilized. We will see how the subgrade will be stabilized. Okay, we will be having the layer of muram stabilization of track on a poor soil. How we will see how that track can be stabilized. Okay, we are going to use a layer of muram. We will be having cement grouting. We will be having sand piles and the certain use of the chemicals. Now we will see before that we will see there is one more important thing that is there, the admixture of the different soil. See, if we are having some soil which is a bit poor, right, we should mix that admixture to it. Okay, now we should add some other soils to it. Okay, now desired we will see admixtures of a different soil first. Okay, the desired constituents should be brought from a scattered borrow pits, right. If we are going to get a poor soil, what we should do is we should have the sandy material it should be mixed with the clay soil. If you are, suppose if you are going to get a poor soil which is going to have the less strength, right? In that particular soil, what we are going to add is we are going to add the sandy material. It should be mixed with the clay soil, right? We should mix the sand type of material into that particular soil so that it is going to provide, right? It is going to provide the stability to the track, and it should not say if rain and all due to the moisture, if it is going to change its say nature, then by adding sand and all, we can prevent the change of its nature. Okay, now we will see how we can add the different thing, that is we are going to have the cement grouting. Right now we will see the layer of muram. Okay, in a very poor soil such as a black cotton soil, if you are going to get a black cotton soil which is going to swell and shrinks considerably by contact with the moisture, right? A layer of muram is going to be provided under the ballast, right? Here, if we are going to get the black soil, right? Now we should add the muram, right? So that it is, if a ground level is having the black soil condition, right? We should add the muram to it, right? We should add muram upon it so that it is going to give the stability to the ballast. Okay. Now this is how we can have your layer of muram. The thickness of the layer, right? It should vary in between 300 mm to 600 mm. That is 30 to 60 centimeter. And the layer of this layer is going to distribute the pressure, and also it is going to prevent the ballast being lost in the track of soil. See, if we don't add this muram, then what will happen, since the black cotton soil is going to change its volume, right? And it is not going to have the sufficient bearing capacity. All the ballast, whatever it is there, it is going to be get say stored or get it is going to enter into the black cotton soil, and as the load is going to increase continuously, there is an settlement of all those ballast. It is there on top of the black cotton soil. It is going to be settling, continuous settling is going to occur. Okay. Again, instead of muram, ashes, rubble, slabs of concrete, unserviceable sleeper, etc., may be used, right? If we are going to have the black cotton soil. Now we will see what is this cement grouting is. Now we will see what is exactly the cement grouting is. Okay. Now in this method, the steel tubes about 30 mm diameter are driven into the formation at every alternate sleeper. Here we are at every, this is your top view of your permanent bay, right? At every alternate, see, one we are keeping it blank, and one we are here, we are going to have the steel tubes, which is going to have around 30 mm, that is a 3 centimeter, are going to be driven at alternate sleeper, okay, as shown by this. Now, into these steel tubes, right, generally 150 centimeter long. This is the depth is going to be 150 centimeter, and it is driven at the angle of the tube is nearly under the rails. Okay, in this, the cement grout in this particular steel tubes, what has to be placed here, the cement grout is going to be forced under the pressure about zero point 0.7 newton per mm square through these tubes. The cement grout, it is going to be spread into the poor soil, and it is going to be consolidated. Suppose in your permanent way, right, we will take your permanent way. Suppose in your permanent way, the soil is bit soil is bit loose. So what it will do is, we are going to have the steel, we are going to have the circles. We are going to have the tubes of around 30 3 centimeter. In these particular 3 centimeter hole, we are going to have it, right? And we are going to have it about 150 centimeter depth, right? And then we are going to pour the cement. If we are going to pour the cement grout into it, it is going to stabilize the soil, whatever we are going to have at the formation, if it is weaker. Okay. So this is one more method of the soil stabilization that we are going to have, right? And then we will be the steel tubes, after having this, right, we will be taking off the steel tubes. Then we are going to have the sand piles. Okay. in this method, in this method, what we exactly we are going to do is, right, here we will be having a tube of around 300 diameter, that is 30 centimeter diameter, is made in the ground by driving the wooden pile. Right here, we are going to have the wooden your piles. We are going to have sand piles. We are going to have, right, and then and then we are going to have uh, the sand is going to be it can be done in case of your sand piles can be done in your timber your as the timber piles has to be done, and then they has to be provided the vertical drainage, they provide the good mechanical support. Right here, what we exactly we are going to do in your sand piling method is we are going to have the sand piles of around 1.8 to 3 meter depth. Okay, filled. It is as I have told, if the soil is poor, right? While telling you the muram, I have told that it has to be the admixture, different admixtures has to be added in the soil. In from these particular holes, what we are going to do is it is around having the depth of around 1.8 to 3 meter depth. So I will be pouring the sand through it. Okay, a sharp, it is going to be filled with the sharp, clean, and clean sand, so that it has to be resurfaced. Okay, so it is this is how we can do the uh, your stabilization of the earthwork. So this is how we are going to stabilize the earthwork. Now we will be using the concrete mats also. Sometimes we are going to use the concrete mats also for subgrade improvement, and for the precast concrete slabs we will be using these particular your for your loosened soil or the weaker soil. Now we will see the we will see how much the slope should be provided for the embankment, that we have already discussed here. The embankment, right, we will be providing if good soil is there. Suppose if the good soil is there over here, that means if it is going to carry out the loads properly, right, we will be maintaining this slope around 1.5 to 1. Right, if a poor soil is there, right, or if a slope or for slope for a poor soil, if it is there, we will be maintaining the slope of around 2 is to 1. Right, and then if we are going to have the height, the it is dependent upon the height also. If we are going to have around 4.5-meter height, then we will be using this slope as 1.5 is to 1. Okay, and then we will be, if on this particular height at around 4.5-meter height, if we are going to have say 4.5 meter height, we will be increasing this slope to 2 is to 1. So this is how we will be having regarding the stability of a soil, or regarding the subgrade, how we can increase the stability of a soil. That is what we have seen in today's class. We have seen what is formation level, right, what we have seen what is embankment, right, how much width should be there for the embankments, then how we can what are the functions of the different formation level, right, how we can we increase the stability of these formation level. So this is what we have studied in today's class. In the next class, we will be studying how much quantity of different material is going to be required. That is rails, how many number of sleepers, fish plates, fish boards, right? And we will be seeing how much quantity of ballast is going to be required, how much quantity of subgrade or the muram is going to be required if we want to lay down a track for based upon the per kilometer length, along with how we can lay down the railway track, that we are also going to see in the next class. So in today's class, we have finished regarding how the formation level should be, what are its requirement, what should be its width, what should be its slope, how we can increase the soil stability if we want to lay down the railway track. So this is what we have studied in today's class. You have any doubt? Yes. Do you have any doubts? Yes. Do you have any doubts? Deepesh? Dipesh, you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Rakesh, Biradar,
Yes, sir.
any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So I think for your exam, we will be keeping around a 1.5 module in for your this particular internal. So this particular module 2 is not so long as your module 1. We have taken too many classes for module 1. It will not be so long. So probably we are going to have 1.5 modules for your lab internal. First internal, we will be having 1.5 module. So till whatever we are going to cover till Thursday, that everything will be included for your first internal. You start studying for your internal. If you want, I have given you the notes, right? I have circulated the notes. Study SC Saxena for a railway engineering, right? Textbook. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, right? Can we finish the class over here? Yes. Can we end the session? If any doubts are there, please ask, or else we will end the session over here.